Bam. All right, well, hey there, everybody. Welcome to another live stream of Astronomy Daily Live. So, welcome, everybody. Come on in. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Everything's good here. We're getting the first few clouds from, I think, is it still a hurricane? Um, anyway, Rosa is out there somewhere near Southern California, moving north, and getting a few clouds here. I've heard reports of rain to my west, but it's a good kind of rain. It's a hurricane rain, so that is really nice. Anyway, welcome everybody. Come on in. Come on in. The ever-growing circle of friends. Um, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to ask a couple of non-astronomical questions here. I'm going to let some folks get into the chat and sort of gather in here. It usually takes a few minutes to do that. While we're waiting, Bobby, what is going on?
Hey! Well, nothing much. Just waiting for midnight to come on around.
Waiting for midnight. What happens? Do you turn back into a pumpkin at midnight?
No, I get my Social Security, my first of 2 Social Security checks.
Well, that is much better than turning into a pumpkin. I'm going to have to say.
Or a potato 1 and 2.
Yeah. yeah. So the first question I have, and I know that there aren't a lot of viewers or anything yet, but I guess I'll sort of get going with this. I've got a problem with my Samsung S7 Galaxy smartphone here. I've got a problem, and what it is it is, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's starting to split open. So can you see that? I'm going to try to.
Oh yeah, I can see the split right now.
Yeah.
Time for you to get yourself a new phone unless you can snap it in.
Okay. Because when I try to push it, it's there's no snapping action. It's like just glue. And as you can see, it's kind of hard to see.
Out. Yeah, I would take that to the servicing for your carrier and stuff, and they'll find out what it is.
Okay. Well, I don't have any kind of...
The worst that you can do is, like, if it's like the back is exposed, and everything just goes backwards.
Okay. Well,
I don't think a Samsung's got replaceable ports.
Yeah. I'm not incredibly worried. I was just sort of wondering if anybody else had that. See, I've sort of pushed it together, so it's I don't think it's going to focus on that, but I've sort of but here it's starting to come apart again, and I can squeeze it, right? And it sort of closes, but it comes right back. It's sort of like spongy. Yeah.
There's like no snap or anything, none whatsoever?
No. I mean, I'm pushing that down so it actually closes, right? So there's no snapping action whatsoever.
Yeah. If you can avoid the buttons, maybe you should try taping and stuff, like regular tape and stuff.
Duct tape. Duct tape will do it. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure duct tape would do it, but probably regular tape.
I think it's not.
How old is your phone anyway?
It's just a couple years. And
usually, by a couple of years, you should be able to get yourself another phone.
Oh, sure, no problem. No, this phone works just fine, and I don't actually have any kind of phone plan or anything on this. This is just, I mean, I actually got it for a project I was working on a couple of years ago, and which I think I've talked about on this live stream at least a couple times. And so, I mean, I don't really need it.
So wait a minute, yours is like a prepay, or you just use it just for fun?
There is no plan in terms of phone on this at all. I'm using it as a um, browser. You know, I run Chrome on this, and then I use the camera, right? And that's it. So I mean, it's not. I'm not using it as a phone at all, and I probably never will. So I mean, and this thing still works, right? I mean, it works fine. It's just I just noticed that split there. So it's
Yeah.
not a big
So
deal.
if you don't need a cell phone, then I think you should be. Can you like do better off with a tablet or something?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, this is what I've got. So yeah, no huge deal. And you know, there was something else. There was something, another question. Oh, you know what? Yeah, and I don't know if anybody knows this. Is Uncle Bill in the chat yet?
Yeah,
Uncle Bill
he's there.
is in the chat.
He's there, and Patrick Benny.
Patrick is there too. Has the phone been overheating? Sometimes it gets kind of warm. I mean it's not as if it's getting like too hot to touch or hold or anything. It does, or it has at least in the past gotten warm.
Okay,
Um,
Patrick. When my mom was still around, because of my learning disability, my mental issues, and stuff like that, my mom had me with Social Security, and now I have my own ever since when I turned 18. Now I am capable of working, but I might want to try to control myself. So if it goes too stressful, I'll just rave and rage and stuff like that. And sometimes and then I always got to say, once on Social Security, always on Social Security. But you may never know how long you're going to be on Social Security because the way how the government works.
hmm, yeah. You know, I think it's a nice thing for you know um, society to sort of help those who need it at least for a while, right? I mean, you know, some people need it longer than others and all that, but it's like, yeah, that's cool. I think that's a nice thing
And
um,
was
to
you
do.
at
So,
one of Jose's live tech shows? I think was when he first restarted his tech shows about last year and stuff. That my mom recently passed away, like last year.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, liver cancer got the best of her.
Hmm. Sorry. Hmm. You know, the other question that I had, and as I said, I'm glad Uncle um, um, Uncle Bill is here. I've got a question about YouTube um, analytics. I'm gonna here. Let me pull up my analytics screen here, and if anybody can answer this, I would like to know because I can't. I'm not quite sure what this one category of data means. I'm waiting for this thing to load, and then I'll share my screen here. Um,
I
let's
wonder
see.
Uncle Bill
Where
still
is it?
got his bandwidth issues, have his bandwidth issues resolved, so he can join us in the panel.
Oh, well, he is free to if he wishes. Okay, so yeah, let me share my screen here. Ba, 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 ba. Share the screen. I'll hide that. We're going to go to analytics. Okay, so so of course these are my analytics here, and everything on here I understand, right? The number of minutes watched, and the average view, and the number of views, and the number of likes, the number of dislikes, shares, subscribers, blah blah blah. This category, comments, I I don't know. I don't know what these are because I am most definitely not getting. I mean, to me, a comment, right, is like, underneath this video, people have an opportunity, to write some kind of thing that I would call a comment, right? But these guys are saying that I've got like hundreds of comments for um, each live stream, but um, that's not exactly what I'm seeing. So I'm sort of wondering. I'm not quite sure what this means by comments. Is that like how many comments are in the chat? Because even so, 158, I don't know if I'm not sure about that.
I think they're mostly like chat comments, and then they got like some like when they do a BOD, there will be like new comments and stuff. I just don't know why you're not seeing those new comments on the BOD.
And what's a BOD?
When you like video on demand.
A VOD.
Like
Okay.
after your live stream, it will process it, and then it'll be like for anybody that wants to see it at any time.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah. I'm just, my I guess my guess is that these are the number of like chat comments. Um, comments comments on my reruns, live chat comments. So maybe that's what it is just the live chat comments. Okay. Well, that might make sense because, I mean, some of these are really low, right? 15. Um, so yeah, I guess, what I could do, right, is I can compare, right? I can compare the number of comments with uh, with like the number of, well, I want to get like the number of, um,
Now, can you see the comments that were made by like people just watching it at their own way? You don't have to see like live and stuff.
well, see, that's where I'm a little bit confused because to me, a comment is the thing that is left in the comments section, not any kind of chat thing. So yeah, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure all this out a little bit. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I would like definitely get YouTube on the line for that.
okay, yeah. I'm just
If you can,
and
that's
what?
the problem.
Yeah, yeah. Well, not a big deal. I just I wonder about these kinds of things from time to time. So got a little bit of coffee left here, just a little bit. Cheers.
Um,
And I've got the HOH here, the hydrogen hydroxide. It is an acid and a base at the same time. It's an amazing molecule here. Mm. So cheers to that. So hope everybody's doing well. I noticed. I guess I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Um, let's see. Whoop. Oh, I did the wrong one. Here we go. Let's do this one. Back to sharing the screen, and I wanted to get over to Paul Matt Sutter made a post on his website today commenting about
Now, Patrick, Manny did say some of your live shows weren't available as a video have the chat comments disabled.
Such similar live shows, this video have the chat comments disabled. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I guess that's something I can look into. Yeah, I guess I'll have to look into that a little bit. Okay, cool. Well, thanks. Thanks for that. So,
just one of those retarded things YouTube is doing.
yeah, that kind of a category sort of confuses me, right? Because I mean, as I said, I'm thinking that the comments are those those things that people post, sort of after the fact. And yeah, I mean, I don't have that many views, so I mean, it's like I've got to have at least as many views as I do comments, right? So yeah, but I think maybe if it is the chat, that makes a little bit more sense. All right. Anyway, so Paul Matt Sutter is talking about sensational headlines in science, and sort of who's to blame.
I guess also another thing is you might have some spam comments, either if you do it as a top chat or a live chat, and they just don't show it to you and stuff. I got some of that whenever I was doing YouTube and stuff.
Okay, yeah, I think there is a way to look at all the spam comments, I think, and I'm not getting any of those. So at least not a lot of them. So yeah, I don't know. It's just,
like I said, YouTube is it's kind of like a bit screwed up and stuff.
Yeah. Well, we're all trying to figure all this out, and it's so incredibly new.
And I think the system's been broken for quite some while too. Last time I checked.
That's possible. Anyway,
and that's why some people just left.
Yeah. So anyway, I just sort of liked his comments here about sensational headlines and sort of.
We're gonna chat again one more time about from Uncle Bill.
Oh, okay. Let me look here. Yes, I do get a notification. So okay. Well, cool. I can completely accept that. So I mean, if it is chat, the live chat, then yeah, okay. I can completely understand that. Totally. All right. So anyway, I just wanted to point this out. I'll actually in the chat just in case you're not able to see it or haven't already seen it yet. So there you go. But yeah, I think he makes some interesting points. He's on sort of the side that science can have the answers for lots and lots of things, but you can't completely rely on science. But yeah, that's that's sort of where these sensational science headlines do start, right? They start with the scientists themselves, um, and it depends on how we scientists communicate that kind of information to journalists who absolutely, right, don't have a clue what we are talking about at all. And I mean, they should educate themselves a little bit, but we can't possibly expect them to have the knowledge and expertise that we have.
Yes.
So
Yeah, that's actually true. Now, did you like watch the news whenever there was an active shooter at the YouTube campus?
I don't know if I remember that or not. How long ago was that?
Probably about maybe like about a few months and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I think what I did hear is because the active shooter had some content or his channel removed or her channel removed, and she went on a rampage as a result.
Wow. Well, yeah. I mean, I suppose I can understand being upset. I mean, that's probably going a bit far, but yeah, yeah.
And when I heard about these new rules and regulations and stuff on YouTube from Jill's feed, that's when I was just like, well, if I do it again, what are the chances that my content can be taken down on the spot and stuff? And that happened to me about twice.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's always a risk.
And they're just ignoring the facts.
Hmm.
I mean, we're supposed to be a free speech nation, and you're gonna do that crap with us?
Yeah. Well, as I said, I think that we're all really new at this. I mean, we're in like the infancy of all of this stuff, right? Maybe even pre-infancy, right? We're still being sort of constructed and built, and so yeah, who knows where all this is going? Yeah, we really don't know. Really don't know. So all right, well, this is the first live stream of October, at least in terms of coordinated universal time. It is 2:23 on the 1st of October 2018. And, I've been doing this a few months. And at the beginning of every month, I like to go over to Cloudy Nights and take a look at the month's astronomical events for that month. And every month, on this day, for me here and all of us in the United States, it's actually still September 30th, right?
September 30th, all throughout the Western Hemisphere and stuff.
Yeah. So usually, Cloudy Nights, which I assume is based somewhere, like in the United States, they usually don't post until their actual October 1st, right? Which would be in the case of this live stream on October 2nd, right? But for some reason today, I went over here to look to see if they posted the October calendar, and look, they did. So they actually did it sort of a day early. So I figured we could run through these events a little bit and see what interesting things are going on this month. Looks like there's usually a lot. So yeah, let's sort of get into this a little bit. So let's see. On the 1st, which is today at 22 hours, which is what, in about 20 hours from now, the moon's going to be pretty close to M35. I don't know if that's incredibly exciting or not. Yeah. On the 2nd at 9:45 UTC, we've got what they call last quarter moon. Last quarter. There should probably get into this a little bit. There are, last quarter moon is sort of a strange term, right? And it goes along with a lot of other sort of strange terms in this science of astronomy. Let me see if
Are you getting a spinner on your smartphone?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not watching that. I don't know if I am or not.
My phone acting up.
Am I spinning? Huh.
Yeah, what's my smartphone acting up?
Oh, okay. All right. Well, what I was going to do was I was going to Google. Let's just look at the phases of the moon here. Phases of the moon. This will do. This should do at least. Yeah. Okay, so I hope everybody can see that okay. So, from a certain perspective, right, the moon is orbiting the Earth, right? So we're sort of looking at the system of the Earth and the moon and the sun from above, right? Let's sort of imagine.
I'm spinning on my tablet too.
Huh.
Is anybody spinning too?
Are we spinning? We'll find out if we're spinning or not. I'm going to keep going though. So, if you're standing on the surface of the Earth, right? Let's just say, I mean, it doesn't particularly matter where.
If you're spinning, refresh.
Yeah, if you're spinning, just smash that refresh, see what happens. So if you're standing on the surface of the Earth and you're looking out into the sky, right? Depending on where the moon is in its orbit around the Earth, you're going to see a different portion of the moon being lit up by the sun, right? And it's all just a matter of perspective, right? That's all it is. It's just a matter of perspective. So we're here on the surface of the Earth, right, looking out into space, and here's the moon going around the Earth, and of course the sun is way over here to the right, way over there. Of course, shining its light on all things, right? So the side of the Earth and the side of the moon that is facing the sun, of course, is going to be all lit up, right? It's going to be reflecting sunlight. And the other side of the Earth and the moon is going to be dark. And that's always the case, right? I mean, as you can see, as the moon goes around the Earth, the actual, half that is lit up is always exactly the same, right? So this half is always lit because it's on the sunlight side. This half is always dark because it's on the non-sunlit side. But from the perspective of standing on the surface of the Earth, the moon is going to seem to go through these phases, right? So as you can see, when the moon is new, which means it's more or less right between the Earth and the sun. When we look at the moon, right, we're not only seeing the dark side of the moon, right, but it's also going to be really, really close to the sun. So almost, I mean, I would say, yeah, pretty much impossible to see the new moon unless the moon and the sun actually line up, right? At which point we have a solar eclipse. So solar eclipses happen at new moon, exactly at new moon. Now we don't always have a solar eclipse every month because the orbit of the moon is inclined, right? It has an inclination. So sometimes it lines up and sometimes it doesn't. But as the moon orbits the Earth, right, and we look out again, we start seeing, right, because we're actually seeing sort of this half of the moon, right, just this half. So a lot of it's dark and a little bit of it is lit. And that's what they're calling here a crescent, right? Because here's just this slice of it that is lit. So we're seeing, you know, a lot of the dark side still and some of the light side.
I'm not sure if it's possible throughout the summertime, but in the winter times, like when I could see the moon at the daytime side.
Sure, you can see. Actually, I mean, it really depends on the phase of the moon, but you can definitely see the moon during the day easily. Most of the time, sometime during the day. The only time that you really can't see the moon in some form of daylight is actually when it's new, right? Because it's so close to the sun, and we're seeing the dark side. So it's virtually impossible to see at new. But at any other phase, maybe not full either, right? Because at full moon, the moon rises when the sun sets, and the moon sets when the sun rises. So at new moon and full moon, we can't really see it during the day. But any other phase, we certainly can, for sure. So this is sort of where it starts getting confusing in terms of the words, right? So they call this phase, right, when the moon and the Earth and the sun sort of make this 90-degree angle here, right? We call this first quarter. First quarter. Now, when anybody looks at this, right, they're going to say, well, that's half, right? That's not a quarter of the moon, right? This is more like a quarter of the moon, right? This is not a quarter. This is a half.
I think you had to chart on a counterclockwise way and stuff. I'm not sure.
Hmm?
Do you think like that chart that you're seeing right here, like it's in a counterclockwise or just clockwise?
From this perspective, the moon is going counterclockwise, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why they're calling this first quarter. But why would they call that first quarter and not first half? Well, this is one of those weird astronomical things, right? Technically speaking, right, we're seeing, you know, this part of the moon, right? This half of the moon, where half of it is dark and half of it is light. So 1/2 of 1/2 is 1/4. So technically speaking, we're seeing 1/4 of the moon lit up. Now we know that this other half back here, or actually this other quarter, is also lit up. But yeah, it's just weird terminology, right? Right, really weird terminology. So as it swings around, right, now we're seeing more of the lit side and less of the dark side. At full moon, we're seeing all of the lit side and none of the dark side. And then as it goes around, we see the changing phases. And they do exactly the same thing here. It's called last quarter, right, as opposed to last half, for exactly the same reasons, right? We're only seeing one quarter of the lit part. Yeah. It's a little strange. It's a little strange. Anyway, those are the phases of the moon. It's just a matter of perspective, and you sort of have to just wrap your head around this. And if you look at it long enough and think about it a little bit, it actually starts to make a little bit of sense. So just have to be patient with yourself and try to understand as well as you can, and you will for sure. And I'm going to check the chat really quick. Okay, so the stream is good here. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Retrograde motion. We've seen a few objects doing that. Not too many. Pretty much everything does exactly the same thing. As seen from above, everything seems to revolve counterclockwise. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. So that's last quarter moon, right? So that's this one down here when the
anybody can hear. I might want to turn down the TV because my Star Strider's on.
Oh, cool, nice.
And hey, Andy.
Hey there, Andy. Nice to see you in the chat. We're just looking at the phases of the moon and events, astronomical events for October of 2018. So yeah, so third quarter or last quarter, I say first quarter, full moon, third quarter, new moon. So, there's all kinds of terminology. But anyway, so we are coming up to what they're calling last quarter, right? That's going to be happening on the 2nd at 9:45 UTC. So the moon's going to be over here. And really, we're only going to be seeing it in the mornings, right? Last quarter moon, third quarter moon rises at midnight local time and sets. Is that right? Rises at midnight? Yeah. Yeah, it rises at midnight and sets around noon. Yeah. All right, let's keep going here. So here is the Curtis Cross, which is one of many lunar features that one can see. I guess the timing on these is a little tricky. So the shadows move pretty quickly on the moon, right? Pretty quickly. So you've got to be sort of at the right place at the right time in order to see a lot of these features. And what they're saying is that this particular feature, the Curtis Cross, is predicted to be visible at 7 hours UTC. So that's pretty cool. The ascending node of the moon means that it is crossing the celestial equator. It has a declination of 0 degrees, and ascending means that it's heading north, right? So it's slowly moving north in its orbit, going around the Earth, right? It's got an ascending node and a descending node because of the inclination of the orbit. When the moon is crossing either its descending or the ascending node at new moon, then we have a solar eclipse. When it's passing one of its nodes at full moon, we have a lunar eclipse. I think that's right. I think so. Let's see. So Venus is stationary in right ascension, and it's going to start moving west, retrograde, starting at 4 hours UTC on the 5th of October. Mercury.
That event with the moon, the Beehive cluster is lighting up in phase. It might be a nice photo opportunity.
Yeah, of course. And 3.5 degrees, that's what, 7 lunar diameters. So yeah, that's kind of a nice shot. Let's see. So Mercury is going to be next to Spica. That's sort of exciting, I guess. Venus stationary in longitude. So the moon is at perigee, which means in its orbit, going around the Earth, it's at its closest point at 2227 UTC on the 5th, 227,000 miles away. So that's the closest it's going to get this time around.
Where do you see 3.5 degrees, says Uncle Bill?
What's that?
Where do you see 3.5 degrees, says Uncle Bill?
Oh, right there. The moon is 3.5 degrees south of the bright open cluster, blah, 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 blah.
What, your stellarium begs you to differ, Uncle Bill?
That's entirely possible. It's always interesting to see what the differences are between all of these things, and then sort of wonder about, why are there such differences? Yeah, interesting. So yeah, if there is a difference there, I'd like to know what that is. So yeah.
Okay, Uncle Bill, during moon is 1.2 degrees south of the Beehive cluster on the 4th.
Gotcha. You're talking about the Beehive, which is not M35. The Beehive cluster is isn't that M34? Don't remember now. Yeah.
Uncle Bill, during says is a different
M44.
event.
Yeah. M44. Different event. Yeah. But actually, that's shown too here, right? 1.2 degrees south of the Beehive. Yeah. That's just a different event. That's all. Let's see. Okay, so perigee. Moon at perigee. That also means that it looks as large as it's going to get, because as things get closer to us, they look bigger, right? So that's about as...
out of my curiosity, do you ever seen any Mel Brooks movie?
Mel Brooks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a few. I don't really like his stuff, but
two movies I've seen out of Mel Brooks: Spaceballs, which I love so much, and Blazing Saddles. I think if it wasn't for Blazing Saddles, it would have been the best satirical restaurant ever.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Blazing Saddles. I've seen Spaceballs, and yeah, that's one of the Mel Brooks movies that I do like, for sure. Yeah. And we should have
Yeah, they
mentioned
were
that.
talking about now. They were by clarifying the rumor that Mel Brooks has died. He's still alive.
Okay, yeah. I think he's getting up there, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's getting there.
Getting there.
So it's like Willie Nelson and Ray Stevens.
Gotcha. 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 All right, let's keep going here. So perigee. Moon going by. Regulus. Not too interesting. Mercury passes the ecliptic latitude of 0 degrees. Of 0 degrees at 0 hours UTC on the 6th. I don't know what that 9 means there. That's kind of strange. So, yeah, actually, Ceres is in conjunction with the Sun. I think we can see Ceres with the SOHO spacecraft. Remember, they have those 2 views of the Sun that have the coronagraph. So, it's blocking the light of the Sun so you can see everything around it. And I think Ceres can be seen for sure. Might be a little bit too early for us to see it now, but I'm going to try to remember in the next few days to take a look over there and see if we can see it. Because I'm thinking, that's a week away, so it may not be in either of those views yet. Yeah, I don't know. So the Draconid meteor shower looks like it's going to peak on the 8th at 1500 hours. Cool. It's not the most active of showers, right? They're expecting 10, 20, 30 per hour or so. So yeah, maybe one every 2 minutes, maybe one every 6 minutes. So yeah, not too many, but pretty cool anyway. The whole idea there is that the Earth is moving through this debris field left over by comets, and it's all the dust and all that that's being blown off of comets, and then the Earth moves through those paths, and we get meteor showers. So very cool. Let's see, new moon on the 9th at 3:47. Let's see, then just
Now they're at UTC, right?
everything here is UTC. Yeah, yep. Which I'm extremely grateful for, because it makes things a lot easier. You don't have to. Well, I guess we all have to translate, but there is just one time, and that's exactly what it says there. So let's see. So the moon getting sort of close to a couple objects here, not too exciting. Oh wow! I started reading this, and it's like, whoa! Wait a minute! The winter solstice occurs in the northern hemisphere. Of Mars. Okay, thank you. Because I was like, wow, that's like way off. But on Mars, okay, all right. So cool. So the Mars and Earth have very, very close to the same axial tilt. So I think Mars is.
How many hours or days are in a Martian sol?
A Martian sol is 24 hours and 40 minutes. So it's 40 minutes longer than an Earth day. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. Mars and Earth have pretty much the same axial tilt, and Mars and Earth more or less have exactly the same length of day as well. So Mars sees the same kind of seasons that the Earth does. Of course, it's further away, so things are different. But yeah, in terms of seasons, Mars experiences the same kinds of seasons as the Earth does. I think it's kind of interesting. Anyway, so winter solstice on Mars occurs on the 15th of October at 21 hours UTC. Very cool. So that's the shortest day of the year in the northern hemisphere of Mars. Let's see. So Venus and Mercury get sort of close to one another. Okay, that's cool. Mercury is furthest from the sun, called aphelion. Let's see, when does that happen? At 9 hours UTC on the 16th, right? When it's 0.4667 astronomical units from the sun. So it's about, 1/2 of an astronomical unit. What, about 45 million miles? What is that? Like 70 million kilometers? Is that right? Something like that. Let's see. Juno, first quarter moon happens also on the 16th at 1802 UTC. There is the lunar X. Cool. So now the moon is in descending node, so it's crossing the celestial equator again, but this time it's moving south. And it just so happens, just 7 hours later, the moon is at the apogee, which is its furthest point from the Earth this time around, and that's at a distance of 251,000 miles. So we're talking in terms of miles, right? Here's 251,175 miles, and moon is at perigee at 227,666. So I'm going to pull out my calculator here and see what the difference is in miles. 251,175. 251,175 minus, what was it? 227,666. 227,666. So that's a difference of 23,509 miles. Wow. So that is the difference between when the moon is closest and when it's furthest away. Is 23,000 miles. That's quite a ways. It's quite an elliptical orbit. Let's see what else we got here. So moon is at apogee at 1916. Saturn is going to appear at its greatest declination south at 20 hours UTC on the 20th. The Orionids peak on the 21st. Not very many per hour, though. Don't count on it. Uranus at the opposition point, which means it's exactly on the other side of the sun from the other side of the sky from the sun. So when the sun sets, Uranus rises, and when Uranus sets, the sun rises. That also means that Uranus and Earth are as close as they're going to get this time around. It doesn't say how far away it is, but it is magnitude 5.7, right? 5.7. That's one of the other nice things about being at the opposition point is that it also appears to be as large as it's going to be, and part of that means that it's also going to be about as bright um, as it's going to be. So positive 5.7 is actually, it's possible to see that with the naked eye, right? With no binoculars, no telescope, no nothing at all. You've got to have a really dark sky, right? Really, really dark sky. And a pair of binoculars or a telescope will help. But yeah, I might take a look at that. I haven't seen Uranus in quite a long time. That might be an interesting thing to take a look at. If it's at opposition on the 24th, I might want to wait a couple weeks, catch it when it isn't quite, coming up, when the sun is going down, when it's up a little ways. Maybe I'll do another live stream at the telescope and we can look at Uranus there. That'd be pretty cool. Oh, unfortunately, that's also the date of the full moon. So, wow. So we're going to have this big, huge, bright full moon also on exactly the same day as the opposition of Uranus. So, ooh, that's going to be a little bit hard to see. So, yeah, I think I definitely want to wait a couple weeks, right? So 2 weeks after the full moon on the 21st will be pretty close to the new moon, right? That will be the time to see Uranus. So, yeah, let's sort of plan on that.
In Space Imaging was viewing Uranus last night with an 8-inch telescope.
Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. Sweet. Yeah, this is the time, to see this. Now, good views of Uranus happen every single year, right? So the Earth has to sort of swing around and get as close as it's going to get. But yeah, very cool. Okay, so let's see. Venus is at inferior conjunction. Inferior conjunction is when the planet is between the Earth and the Sun. And of course, there's only two planets that can do that, right? Venus and Mercury, because they are the only two planets that are closer to the Sun than the Earth. Earth is number 3. Lucky number 3. So yeah, Venus and Mercury can both appear to be in conjunction with the Sun, right? Basically lined up with the Sun. In two different ways. You can either have the inferior conjunction, which is this one, when Venus is between the Earth and the Sun. You can also have superior conjunction, which is when Venus is on the opposite side of the Sun, right? Still lined up, but just on the other side. There's only two planets that can do that, at least from the perspective of the Earth. Let's see, inferior conjunction. So that's another opportunity, maybe for us to see it with the SOHO cameras. Maybe 6.26 degrees south of the Sun. Maybe not. I don't know what the field of view of the SOHO cameras are. Might not be that big. We'll have to find that out. Let's see, Aldebaran, the moon is next to all these guys. It's not the most exciting thing in the world. And then again on the 31st, just like it was, yeah, on the 4th, right? It goes through the ascending node again. So that's a declination of 0 degrees. And now it's moving northward. So just over and over and over again, these things do the same thing over and over and over again. Let's see, the sun enters Libra at 7 hours UTC on the 31st. Third quarter or last quarter moon takes place at 1641, and that's also perigee, which again is the closest it's going to get to Earth this time around, 230,000 miles. You can sort of see that the distance of the perigees and, of course, also the apogees change every single time around. You see the last perigee, where was that? Here it is. It was at 227,000 miles, right? This perigee is at 230,000 miles. So even the perigees change, right? I mean, it isn't a, everything's changing constantly. And then I really like how Dave Mitski here also puts in a lot of other information, historical information, just lots and lots of cool other astronomical things, right? Let's see, I'm trying to see if there's anything worth noting. Here's opposition again of Uranus, right? Neptune, Pluto, Giacobini-Zinner continues to be a pretty bright comet. Very cool. It's moving south, definitely moving south pretty quickly. Vesta. Cool. All right, so sort of the usual kinds of things going on. There's nothing. I'm not seeing anything particularly exciting or incredibly amazing happening in October, but it's all very, very cool. It's all extremely interesting.
On the 26th, if their conjunction will be like the new moon, dark, and do you think the Soho can see that?
Well, if Venus is close enough to the sun, then we should be able to see something, right? Because it is definitely, and you're exactly right. We're going to be, seeing sort of the dark side of Venus, right? The unlit side. But because of that slight inclination, I think we'd be able to see something. It's definitely going to be pretty faint, right? Superior conjunction is when we would see, the entirely lit half, and it's obviously much brighter. But I'm thinking that we'd be able to see something. Yeah. But I'm thinking that 6.26 degrees might be sort of outside of the field of view of Soho. Not quite sure. They were talking about Vesta, or I'm sorry, Ceres here, right? Ceres. Okay, so they don't say how far away it is from the sun, but yeah, I'm not quite sure. We're gonna have to. Just gonna have to look and find out. All right, well, cool.
Clips of some of the corona, says Uncle Bill.
Let me see here. Yeah, I mean, you can You can definitely look at it that way. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yep. I would say so. I would say so for sure. I mean, it's small, but actually at inferior conjunction with Venus or Mercury, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Um, the inferior conjunction of Venus and Mercury is a time where we and they are closest to one another. So they actually appear really, really large. So yeah, yeah, you might be able to pick out might be able to pick out sort of a dark disk. Not sure. That's an interesting question. If there's some kind of like a CME or something like that, I'd be curious to know if we could actually see Venus's dark disk eclipsing uh, that. Yeah, not quite sure. Not quite sure. All right. Well, look, I think I'm going to get out of here for now. So glad everybody was able to come in. I'm going to check the chat again really quick here. Make sure that we're good. I think we're good. All right. Yeah. It's been a good hour. We've taken a look at some basic events that are going to be happening over the next month up in the sky. Nothing too extraordinary, nothing too exciting this time around. Definitely, though, if you can, take a look at Ceres. Definitely over the next month or so, because it'll be, sort of in its best position in terms of viewing. So still pretty small and pretty faint, but yeah, you might be able to catch a glimpse of it. And Uranus, for sure. That's actually a pretty easy target to see, and it's a very, very, very distinct green color. So it's really, really cool. Really, really cool to see. All right, you guys, I'm going to get out of here for now. So have a great evening, a great day tomorrow. Thumbs up if you wish. Make some comments. Always like to see those. Thanks for everybody in the chat. Really, really, really appreciate you all coming in. If you ever want to get onto the panel, just send me an email, cosmiclettuce@gmail.com, and I will put you on the list. And when I start up the live stream, I'll send you an email with a link to the Hangout, and you can be a panelist just like Bobby is down there. All right, you guys, I'm going to get out of here for now. I'm going to go crash and burn. So I will see you later. Have a great evening, a great day, and I will see you in a little less than 23 hours from now. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Later.